Time now for Media Watch, and I'm joined now by Emma James. Hi there, Emma.
Hi there.
Now, of course, the royal wedding. We're just, what are we, 12 hours away? No. A
Not
bit more than
quite.
that, 15
Yeah.
hours away. You've been looking at all the stories that people are discussing online. Tell us more.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that's caught a lot of people's attention is the amount of rebranding that's going on within Windsor itself. Now, some businesses have chosen to make the most of this opportunity, including Marks and Spencer's, that most British of names, of course. Now, in the UK, it's often referred to colloquially as Marks and Sparks, but right now they're calling it Markle and Sparkle. They've actually changed the whole signage within Windsor, and apparently this store is actually on the route that the wedding party will take, so they will go past Markle and Sparkle, which is just a nice touch. They've done it in a few stores around the country, not just in Windsor, so it's a nice touch for that. There's also a train station that's been renamed. Windsor and Eton is now the Harry and Meghan Central. That will be a temporary change, and it does seem rather fitting, all this rebranding, given that Harry really has rebranded himself too. In fact, at the start of this year, in February of this year, a poll was done to see who was the most popular royal. He came out on top with 87%, ahead even of the Queen. So really quite unprecedented and unexpected results, I think, given how he used to be viewed, certainly when he was a little wilder. The other thing that is attempting to be rebranded is the homeless issue in Windsor. Now, there's been a lot of controversy about this. Initially, the council wanted to actually have them removed from the streets. They haven't been removed, and as you can see, there are still people sleeping on the streets today in Windsor. And you can see behind that the television journalists are continuing regardless of the gentleman who's trying to catch a few winks and maybe earn himself a few pennies at the same time. But they have actually been taking away the bags and sleeping bags and belongings of these homeless people, they say, in order to stop them having to be checked by security every 5 minutes. But it does make, obviously, life for them even more difficult. This person pointing out that remember, it's not illegal, but it's frowned upon to sleep on the streets of Windsor if you're homeless, but absolutely fine if you do it wrapped in a flag, because lots of people already camping out, dressed up in all sorts of ridiculous outfits, and it does seem very unfair that those homeless people are having to suffer just because there is a royal wedding going on. This is actually a real headline from The Express. Windsor's homeless accused of refusing refuge so they can cash in on the royal wedding. Now, the British comedian David Schneider has commented on this, saying, who's cashing in? When you look at the two pictures, does it appear that £32 million is better spent on the person on the left or the people on the right? Because, of course, that is the cost of this wedding, £32 million.
Okay, well, you mentioned there people camping out on the street to enjoy the fun, and we see it all the time, don't we? Sort of royal babies being born and people spend the night on the streets for several nights on the streets waiting for a bit of news. But it doesn't look like everyone's necessarily got royal wedding fever, have they?
No, quite a few people are not really that enamoured with the idea of this wedding. Private Eye has this cartoon by Ken Pine, has the royal couple laughing as the priest says the words, for richer, for poorer, because, of course, there is no chance that they will be poorer at any stage in their marriage. Plantu, the French cartoonist, has this, kings, queens, princes, princesses and minions, and lots of dollar signs around them. This is a headline from an Australian newspaper, God Save the Queen, worried about the Markles, meet the Windsors. And if I scroll up, you can see some of the bad behaviour from some of the younger royals there, and even a few of the older royals getting in on the act too, with a few tipples.
Very old royals in some cases.
Absolutely, of course. Now, the big story today has been the fact that Prince Charles is going to be the one to walk Meghan Markle down the aisle. Much has been made of the fact that she will do the first part alone and the last part as well. She won't be given away as such. She'll do the last few steps on her own. Interestingly, the statement from the palace also said that she was the one to ask Charles to do it. So really, they're trying to show that she has control over what is happening here. Not everyone cares about this story at all, which has had blanket coverage in the United Kingdom today. Have I Got News for You is a comedy show in the UK, and they say, breaking story, man to walk short distance inside church.
Okay, well, let them rain on the parade. Just briefly, any light you can shed on the dress?
Not a great deal. The bookies say it's going to be Ralph and Russo, the people who designed her dress that she wore in the official engagement photos, but we are going to have to wait and see tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Emma James, for today's edition of Media Watch.